What's up, guys? Hokage Puya here. Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel. He signs as the England manager. Kind of shocking. Didn't really see this coming a week ago, but Thomas Tuchel signs as the English manager on an 18-month contract. I think he's on like 5 mil a year based on his contract, and he will be England's manager for the World Cup 2026 in the United States. You know, and I really just want to get on here and talk about why or my issue, why I have a problem with Tuchel getting the job as the England manager. So, first of all, he's German. And I just really don't get it. But in England, in the English fan base, there just seems to be this beef with Germans, Germany, the German national team, Bundesliga teams. There just seems to be a beef with English fans to the German FA, German football in general, acting like we're still in 1944, 1943, peak World War II. I don't get it. And with Tuchel signing as England manager, you're already seeing the xenophobia. You're already seeing the idiots in the English media writing the narratives. Oh, we don't want him singing the English. We don't want him singing the national anthem. How can we hire a German to come be the coach of our beloved English team? You're already seeing the narratives. And one of my issues with Tuchel becoming England manager is there's already going to be an excuse there. If Tuchel does not succeed, because I'm guessing he's just going to get the World Cup, to be honest. If he doesn't win the World Cup, he's going to get sacked because he's German. If he gets England to World Cup final, I could see this guy getting sacked if he doesn't win that final. Honestly. And with Tuchel becoming England manager, he is all the big excuse is already there. Oh, well, Tuchel's German. We should have never hired a German manager in the first place. It was a failure. Ship him off. Let's bring an English manager back in or something. A Graham Potter and Eddie Howe, whatever, something, one of those names. And my issue with that is it's an easy way out. It's an easy way out for English fans to run away from the actual truth about this England team. Gareth Southgate should have never, he shouldn't. Gareth Southgate was a guy, I know Gareth Southgate stepped away, but I really wanted, for me, the next manager of England to be someone English. And I wanted it so badly to be a Graham Potter. I wanted Graham Potter to come to this England team, play the attractive style of football that the English media and the English fan base thinks that their team can play. And I wanted to see them fail. And I wanted English fans to realize that Gareth Southgate's more pragmatic style of football for the English national team is the reason why England has been so successful consistently at tournaments since the 2018 World Cup. 2 Euro finals, World Cup semifinal, and a very close and contentious World Cup quarterfinal loss to France at World Cup 2022. And England fans still don't seem to understand that England fans don't seem to understand that Southgate was the right guy. Tuchel, you guys, is just a world-class version of Gareth Southgate. He will play a more pragmatic style. Yes, it's a little bit overblown. People think, Tuchel, they call him Tucheliban and this and that, acting like he plays peak Jose Mourinho football. He doesn't, but he will most likely, my prediction is, Tuchel will still implement a slightly more pragmatic approach when it comes to facing the bigger teams in Europe, Germany, France, Italy, Spain. These kinds of teams, they will most likely still adopt a more pragmatic approach when it comes to facing them. Even against the Switzerlands, as we saw in the last Euros, a more pragmatic approach. But with Tuchel, you're now getting a guy who has accolades, who is established. He has credit in the bank, money in the bank. He's a Champions League winner, Bundesliga winner. You know what I mean? A Champions League winner with Chelsea, with probably the weakest Champions League winning side of all time. He got PSG to their one and only Champions League final with Neymar and Mbappe in that team. He has credentials, and now you're getting basically a world-class version of Gareth. Maybe not a world-class version of Gareth Southgate, but it's definitely an upgrade. But because he's German, the excuse is already built in for England fans, and they still aren't, and they won't be able to see the truth about their team. Honestly, they won't get the truth about their team. Another issue I have with Tuchel being England manager is that if this is successful, if in 2026 in the United States, England win the World Cup with Tuchel as their manager, a German manager, then the English media, the English fans are going to be like, our team is the best. This is the greatest World Cup winning team of all time. This proves the Premier League is the best. English football is the best. This and that, going on about English football, but then they will conveniently ignore that Thomas Tuchel, the German manager, who is a product of the German system and the system they have in place for creating world-class managers consistently. It's a conveyor belt of up and coming German managers coming out of Germany, coming out of the Bundesliga, the Zweite Bundesliga, the second Bundesliga. If you don't know what that means, they will completely ignore that. A German manager had to come in and give him that success, give him that trophy, and they will disregard it, and they will continue to disrespect the Bundesliga teams, the German FA, German football in totality, which is what English fans do. They are arrogant. They think the Premier League's the best. They think the English are the best. That's what they think. That's what they think. And I made the video a couple months ago after the Euro final saying how England got exposed. How, your average Spanish players within the, that Spanish team didn't have Iniesta, Xavi, and all that. They had Pedri, Fabian Ruiz, these guys, and they ran circles around that England team in that final. Players on that Spanish team that English fans didn't rate. A guy like Fabian Ruiz, who people on YouTube were slacking off saying he's not that good. Why should we be scared of Fabian Ruiz? Dominated your midfield in that Euro final because they were arrogant to Spanish football. They don't recognize their football as equals. They don't recognize La Liga as a league equal to the Premier League. And if Tuchel wins the World Cup with England, what's frustrating for me is that the English fans will continue to be arrogant. They will disregard the German Football Federation that has a system in place to create managers like Tuchel. They will continue to disrespect Bundesliga teams, German football in general. And that's frustrating for me because me as a Bundesliga fan, a follower of the German national team, I respect the Premier League. Bundesliga is my main league, but I watch the Premier League just as much. I love the Premier League. I respect the Premier League. I respect English football. But what's frustrating for me as a fan, and I think any other fan of the top of the Italian fans, Serie A fans, Spanish fans, La Liga fans, Ligue 1 fans, what's frustrating, I think, for a lot of fans across Europe is that the English arrogance there's so much English arrogance that they have a hard time complimenting other leagues. They can't sit back and say, yes, your league is quality, this and that, and show us the proper respect. When teams play England, the English fans boo the other national anthems. But the English national anthem is never booed by other teams. It's that English arrogance that's really frustrating for me. And if Tuchel were to win the World Cup with England, they'll just ignore the fact that a German manager came in and got them to a point where they're able to win a World Cup. They will just ignore it. By the way, think of how crazy that is. Think if England were to win the World Cup in 2026, think of this. So, first of all, it's England in the United States. So imagine this. England win the World Cup on U.S. soil with a German manager and say they beat Germany in the final on penalties. In New Jersey, New York area, land that used to be part of the original 13 colonies that we went to war with England for to get independence from Britain back then. Imagine that. England in the United States, in the land of the 13 colonies, beats Germany in the World Cup final on penalties with a German manager. Winston Churchill would be rolling in his grave. Winston Churchill would be rolling in his goddamn grave. Seriously. So, those are really the issues I have with, Tuchel, becoming English manager. It's the built-in excuse of the German manager, and it's the fact that if it's successful and he does win a trophy, say the World Cup or maybe a Euros, maybe they extend him after the World Cup if he does well, and he wins them a Euros, they will just disregard that a German manager came and made them into a winning team, and they won't show the respect to it. A league like the Bundesliga, a footballing federation like the German Federation. They won't show that respect. And it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating as a fellow football fan. And that's kind of a reason why I feel like English fans are so easy to target and clown, because they're so loud and arrogant that when they take an L, it just really feels good to clown on them, to pile on, to kick them when they're down. It really feels good because you just know that the English fans, the media, will kick you when you're down if they beat you. They don't show you that same respect. They will boo your national anthem. They don't show you that same respect. So that's the frustrating thing for me. Tuchel as a manager, I'm really interested to see which players will be part of his core. Will Eric Dyer be called up? Remember how good Eric Dyer was for Bayern last season under Tuchel. Those 2 games against Arsenal, those 2 games against Real Madrid, absolutely amazing performance. Amazing performance for Eric Dyer. Will Eric Dyer make it back in the team? Mason Mount. If Mason Mount starts performing for Manchester United, which doesn't look likely, but say Mason Mount hits some form and gets a call up to the England side, will Tuchel bring him? Will Tuchel make him a good a main guy? Because I think he's the English player that has played the most under Tuchel from the time at Chelsea. So I didn't make this video to talk about what I expect from Tuchel and with this English team. I just want to talk about my problem with Tuchel being England manager. Because I know Tuchel probably understands this, but you guys, the English national team, the 3 lines, it's so important in England. And really, when you're the manager of England, going into World Cup, bro, you're probably the second most important man in the country behind the prime minister, whoever's the top dog in English government. In the English government, I don't really understand the government there, but whoever is top dog, you're probably the second most important guy. And for England, who still has this deep-rooted hatred and disgust for Germany because of that World War II past, they have a German leading their team into a World Cup that is in the United States. That's crazy. That's freaking crazy. You guys, it's been your good boy, Hokage Puya. English fans, I know you guys got the built-in excuse already, but no more. Let me just say this. No more excuses, though. This is now a world-class manager. This is the best manager on the market that England could have signed to get prepared for World Cup 2026. There is no more excuses for these players. If these players fail, if Tuchel gets them to a semifinal and a final, and if they do not win, it won't be Tuchel's fault. The English media will blame Tuchel. The English media, Premier League fans, will protect the players. But the rest of the footballing world will know no more excuses. These players suck. These players can't perform because that's a true world-class manager right there, Thomas Tuchel. So, it's what it is, guys. You guys, it's been Okage Puya. English fans, I'm ready to hear the excuses in summer 2026. I'm ready. I'm prepared. I got rebuttals to the excuses anyway. I already got them cooking. It's been your boy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.